Hey, my friends, welcome to the Dallas Daily Show. It's my favorite time of week. It is the Midweek Mind Shift. Here we go. Today's topic is breaking the hypnotic rhythm of failure. I can't wait to talk about this one. Let's get into the conversation. This topic today, breaking the hypnotic rhythm of failure, I'm going to just go ahead and tell you might sound a little bit like a book report, but there was something I read a year or so ago, and I actually put it into my notes of study this. And I've been reading about it and learning about it and studying about it quite a bit for the last year. Napoleon Hill, who wrote Think and Grow Rich, if you know that book, if not, you should read it. He had another book, Napoleon Hill. I think he had a couple, but there was another one that I read about a year ago, and it's called Outwitting the Devil. Outwitting the Devil basically the premise in the book is this idea that this guy was interviewing the devil on the master plan that he would use to cause humanity to fail, to cause a person to fall into a subpar life. And so remember, put this in our framework, right, of the mind shift. There's two potential futures out there. There's future you that you want to avoid. This is you that's dumb, sick, broke, unhealthy, on all the medications, doesn't have the life you desire. And then once you look back on it, you go, life just didn't work out the way I had hoped. That's the future you that you want to avoid. But over here, there's a future you that you want to embrace. This is the heroic version of you that when you think about the end of your life and you smile and you say, I lived well, I was healthy, I was happy, I was connected to people, I was connected to God, I was connected to thriving. I was growing in all the right ways. That's a future you that you want to embrace. So in this idea of the hypnotic rhythm that Napoleon Hill talks about in Outwitting the Devil, it's this guy goes to interview the devil, and the devil is held to one tenet, which is the devil cannot lie. And it's just a fictional tale of the conversation, but it's a really interesting thing because the question is always in front of the devil, what would you do to destroy humanity? What would you do to destroy a person's will to continue to aim toward this future version of themselves, right? And so this idea of the hypnotic rhythm of failure is something the devil says, I would make sure that they fell into the hypnotic rhythm of failure. By the way, I think the entire book is available for free on YouTube, that you can just listen to an old audio of it because it's an old recording. But there's this idea that there is a drift that occurs in humanity, a natural law. You've heard me talk about this idea of automated activity, right? That sometimes we're just on this robotic thing in our lives of wake up, beep, I make my breakfast, beep, I get my coffee, beep, I drive to work, beep, get the kids to school, beep, maybe work out, beep, go to work, beep, do the same stuff, beep, 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 beep. Then I, slouch on the couch with a bag of potato chips, beep. At the end of the day, go to sleep, beep, do it all over again, beep, 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 beep. Beep until your red line, right? There's this robotic way that we live, automated activity versus dynamic living. I've talked about this in previous episodes of the pod. I wrote down that idea of automated activity in 2011, having never read any of this stuff. I was like, yeah, that's what life has felt like to me. And I, at that time, was reading books on awareness, present moment awareness, and fully living, and just those mental activities, and how we can use that to get into dynamic living. I had no idea that Napoleon Hill had written about this 70 plus years ago before me. And that's the way ideas work, right? As they come to us and we're like, oh, I like that. Then we find out those same ideas have come to 10 dozen other people before us, which is the amazing thing about how our world works and the realm of ideas. So this idea of the hypnotic rhythm of failure is that it's repeated thoughts, repeated actions, automatic habits, beep, 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 and it actually becomes your operating system. But the devil specifically in this book calls it drifting. His whole goal is to get people to drift, to not take hold of their lives, to get on mental autopilot where they're just indecisive, they're aimless, they're repetitive, they're reactive. He wants us to drift. Now, this is not listen, I've mentioned the devil several times. If you're listening to this and you're like, Dallas, this is silly, keep in mind, this is just what life wants you to do too. Even if you don't embrace this idea, right, that Napoleon Hill is putting out here in Outwitting the Devil. I mean, it's called Outwitting the Devil. Just go with me on it, people, right? Is the whole point the devil wants us to drift. Life wants us to drift. Drifting is this state, again, I said it a minute ago, mental autopilot, right? And most of us drift without realizing it. And in this is, the devil says, his greatest tool is to get people to drift long enough for the hypnotic rhythm to set in, the hypnotic rhythm of failure. So if we're looking at this future us that we want to become versus this old us and this trajectory of a future us we'd like to avoid, right? We have to be aware that occasionally we drift. Occasionally we say things like, I'm going to start on Monday. Oh, I'll just start again, right? That's the idea here is we all do it. But in order to have the future that we want to have, we need the mind shift to who we want to become. So, what are some signs that you could be drifting? What are some signs that you could be falling into the hypnotic rhythm of failure? It's a good thought for us to consider. Let's look at maybe number one. I said there is, have you ever said something like, I'll start again on Monday? We kind of talked about this. There's a loop. We talked about this yesterday, just briefly in yesterday's pod, is there's this loop that's either running or ruining your life. And there's a belief and an identity. Identities and behaviors. Behaviors create your results, and the results reinforce that identity and those beliefs. And boom, 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 you find yourself in this cycle. That is part of the drift, is you're like, I'm going to become this new version of me, but I'll start on Monday. That's one of the signs that you've been in drift, is you're like, well, I need to readjust. I need to go back. I got to realign, right? What about this one? You start really strong on something, and then when you start meeting resistance or a little time goes by, you lose focus. You choose to give up your momentum, right? So maybe you start strong, but you lose focus. That's a sign you could be getting into the drift. That's a sign you could be getting into the hypnotic rhythm of failure. This is why when we talk about this future version of you, why we talk about the power scripts are so important, but so are the micro scripts, because your old mentality wants you to drift every single day. We will always take the path of least resistance. That is human nature, my friend, is we fall regularly into the path of least resistance. And on the path of least resistance, where we choose the easiest choice and we decide, I will have it easy now. When we do that, we are sabotaging our future self. And we're drifting, which, if you want to outwit the devil, you have to maintain, right? So starting strong, losing focus. That's one of them. I'll start again on Monday. That's a big indicator you might be in the drift. What about this one? I think this one's huge. What if you celebrate progress by actually self-sabotaging? This is a good one we can use on diet, right? Nutrition. Is you're like, man, I've done so well. I've gotten down below my goal weight. I'm going to celebrate and just kind of loosen the belt a little bit tonight. And then you loosen the belt and it's like, bong. It's like all I could see was a cartoon there. And your belly goes back out and you're like, oh, now I can celebrate. I can loosen the belt, but the loosening of the belt, you end up dropping your drawers, right? So have you ever celebrated your progress by doing the exact same thing that was self-sabotaging? You're actually in the drift. We kind of talked, I kind of got real with you yesterday on the loop that could be running or ruining your life. And I gave you an example of me, like get below, but then your body keeps score, right? Your body remembers. Your body does this. This whole week has kind of had this theme of how can you aggressively project toward who you want to be? What about this one? Thinking of automated activities. You just repeat the same unproductive behaviors day in and day out. And you just have a brief moment of, oh yeah, I want to break that. And then it happens again. Oh yeah, I want to break that, right? So, number one, if we ever say, I'll start again Monday. Number two, if we start strong but we lose focus. Number three, if we're celebrating by self-sabotaging. And number four, if we ever just go, yeah, I should. Yeah, I should. If we're caught in the shoulds and the coulds and the woulds. Boy, if only I would do that. Yeah, I could break that thing. All of those are signs of the drift. And here's another one. Here's a fifth one for you. Cycles of guilt. You do the thing and then you feel guilt or you regret, you're in the drift. These are all hypnotic rhythm of failure things, right? Again, I'll start Monday, number one. Number two, you start strong, but you lose focus. Number three, you celebrate progress by self-sabotaging. Number four, this idea of, oh yeah, I should, little moments of awareness. Oh yeah, I should. Oh yeah, I really could get better if I would just fix that. If I would, if I could, if I should. And then ultimately the cycles of guilt and regret. I can't believe I did that. Can't believe I did that again. All of those are signs that you are in the drift. But fear not, my friend. There are ways to break the hypnotic rhythm of failure. There are ways to get back on point, on target, and on focus to future you. And we're going to talk about those in just a minute. But because it's a mind shift, you know what we got to do. We got to say hello to our sponsors. If you are a business professional and you're looking to lose 25 to 50 pounds of that stubborn belly fat over the next 90 days, I want to tell you about one of the programs from our sponsors, the Shed Fat Fast program with Joel Staley. Joel has helped over 1,500 clients lose all of that fat, get in the best shape of their life, and he does it with a proprietary fasting protocol that's guaranteed to get you results without giving up the food that you love. I know it works because I'm in the program right now and I'm telling you, this thing is getting me results. I know it can get you results as well. He's got a free training for you. Go to shedfatfast.com. That's shedfatfast.com. Check out his free training. And when you call in, be sure and mention that you heard about it from the Dallas Daily Show. Hey everybody, I just want to give a quick shout out to our studio sponsor here at Neighborhood Loans Studio in St. Louis, Missouri. If you're in the market for a new home, look no further. Their 5-star team is excellent. They can help you get what you need. And I can personally connect you with their team, or you can check out their website, neighborhoodloans.com. Again, that's neighborhoodloans.com, or feel free to call them 314-658-9400. Again, that's 314-658-9400. And even though the studio's located here in St. Louis, Missouri, they can service you nationwide. So trust me when I say you are in the best hands with Neighborhood Loans. All right, so let's keep talking about this. Again, I'll start Monday. Start strong, losing focus, celebrating progress by self-sabotaging. Those thoughts of, oh, I need to, I should, I could, if only I would, because you've been in unproductive behaviors without thinking, and you get moments of awareness. And then the final idea here is cycles of guilt, cycles of regret. All of those are signs that you're in the drift. But how do we get out of the drift? Let's talk about it. 3 things here really quickly. First of all, we're going to talk about it from the future you, right? The future you that you visualize, you emotionalize, you vocalize until you internalize so that you can actualize. Boom, getting out of automated activity into dynamic living. Step number 1 is this. You have to declare war on the drift. Yep. Drifting is a very passive thing. It's just, right? So if drifting is passive, we have to get a little aggressive. Maybe intentional is a better word. We have to get, if we have to get more active. If drifting, I just went through verb cases. That's a passive verb. No, that's an active verb. We need to have more active, right? We need to get more aggressive. We need to get more intentional. What we need to do is we need to create in our minds a line in the sand where we actually, and I'll tell you what Napoleon Hill calls this, and I think it's beautiful, because he says, like the devil is like, one way that people can get past this is with definiteness of purpose. That'll preach. You can sit on that one for a little bit, baby. Definiteness of purpose. Again, total credit to Napoleon Hill on that one. That's an impressive thing. You want to avoid the drift, get definite in your purpose. What is your purpose? What is the purpose of who you're becoming? If you make it personal, right? If you make it emotional, if you make it spiritual, if you define your purpose by something that's beautiful and you draw the line in the sand and you say, because of who I am becoming, right? Because of who I am becoming, I will not do this anymore. I had a friend a few years ago. He was 40-ish, 50 pounds overweight. And he, in a time of prayer, felt like he was compelled to give up bread. And he felt as though, and there's this scripture that says, others may, you may not. And I forget, it's one of the prophets or something like that in the Old Testament. But this idea of others may, you may not. And he kind of felt that impulse in his spirit of like, oh, I have to give up bread. It is the crutch in my life. And he drew a line in the sand. And I think that first year he had cake on his wife's birthday because she was like, please have a piece of cake with me. And I think one other time, there was some other reasons, like twice in a year, he had bread. But then he, over the months, he started picking up the running a little bit. He went for walks, and then he went for jogs, and then for jogs, and then for runs. And he hasn't eaten bread now in 5 or 6 years. He's maintained a 45-pound weight loss for these 5-6 years. He's healthier than he's ever been because he knew this was my line in the sand. In order to become who I'm supposed to be, I have to be aggressively intentional and say, others may, I may not. So he declared a war on drifting. In his case, a war on empty carbs in bread. Right? What about you? How can you declare a war on your drift? Is it in your finances? Is it in your relationships? Is it in your health, your physical health? Is it in the food you're choosing to eat? What is your personal, emotional, spiritual belief that you go, I'm going to declare a war on this thing and I'm going to get aggressively intentional, no longer the passive drift, but the active engagement, the definiteness of purpose, because who you are becoming, my friend, is more important than the drift in which you're currently sitting. If you do not stay anchored to that, think of it like a boat. Even if you don't drop anchor, you just naturally drift with the waves a little bit. You might, oh, we're a little too close to shore. Oh, you might drift out a little bit. That anchor to who you want to become is your definiteness of purpose. So number one, declare the war on drift. Number two, you kind of have to go back and you have to go, why do I continue to drift? You have to excavate some of your beliefs behind it. You actually have to go in a little bit and process, why am I staying stuck in this cycle, right? What emotions come up for me, right? Could there be a fear involved here? In Napoleon Hill's other book, his big book, Think and Grow Rich, he talks about the 6 fears that humanity has. And each of the fear of old age, fear of success, fear of I'm forgetting them all right now because I'm winging it. But is there a fear that's confronting you? Is there a fear of what? Oh my gosh, I've held on to this old identity for so long. What would it look like if I let it go? It's a really powerful question. Because sometimes the sabotage isn't necessarily laziness. Sometimes the sabotage is your old subconscious protecting your old identity. Because in this new reality, you're going to go through a moment where you don't know who you are, but you know who you want to become. So sometimes it can be the protection of old identity. So we have to go back and we have to explore the old beliefs and the old behaviors, the things that typically cause us into the drift. Boy, why is it that every Thursday night I really just want to let loose and open the cabinets and go to town and eat that whole sleeve of Oreos? Why is that? Boy, why is it that when I've had a bad day, all I want to go do is some retail therapy? Why is it that I disengage from my children every time a hard conversation has to come up? What if we started asking ourselves, why is it that I drift? That awareness might really allow us to get intentional about who we want to become. And it might blow up our old identity a little bit. And while there's a natural fear there, there should also be an invigoration there, because it is the releasing of your old identity that allows you to grab hold of the future you reality and manifest it in your present. So number one, declare the war on the drift. Number two, explore the beliefs behind the drift. Explore the fears behind the drift. And number three, and you know where it's going here, future you, you're going to download the new identity. You're going to start building new rhythms. See, if the hypnotic rhythm of failure happens because the drift occurs, what might happen if we actually put ourselves in the rhythms of success? That only comes from the new identity. Think back to what we talked about yesterday. Think back to that conversation. What we talked about yesterday, again, was this idea of there's a belief that brings about an identity that brings about behaviors. Behaviors give you results, and the results reinforce your old beliefs. And you stay in that old loop that's ruining your life. What might happen if instead I pulled from the new identity of who I want to become? That's why the Future You 5-day program is so important. If you haven't done it, by the way, it's futureyou5day.com. Futureyou, the number 5day.com. Cheap plug. It's 5 days, 30 minutes a day. Not a big deal. But you visualize, you emotionalize, you vocalize it, right? We help you then internalize it so that you can actualize the new version of who you want to be in your present reality. It is intentional. It is not in a drift. It is active. It is not passive. It is not a hypnotic rhythm of failure. It is a definiteness of purpose. It is not stuck in the old identities, the old beliefs, the old behaviors. Instead, it is pulling from the new to replace the old grooves with new ones. It is building new consistency. It's building new rituals. It's building new repetition. It's building new rhythms. It is reinforcing the future you. That is what we need to do. Man, I could keep going on this, but we're out of time for today. I want you to reflect on those things, though. Excavate some old beliefs. Explore some old beliefs. Number one, declare the war on the drift. Number two, explore the old beliefs. And number three, grab so tightly to the definiteness of purpose of who you are becoming that you install this new identity and these new rhythms into your present reality, and it'll put you on the trajectory of the future you want to be. All right, my friends, that's the end of the Mind Shift today. If you're gaining value from these, please share them. I would ask that you would share them. Yeah. I think this could change lives. I really do. I'd love for you to share them. Okay, go out there, my friends. Have a championship day.
Thanks for listening to my dad's podcast. For more tools, go to DallasDailyShow.com. Be sure to like, subscribe, and share. Thank you.